One of the key issues addressed during UK Minister for Overseas Territories' earlier meeting this week with the press was the controversial recommendations to suspend trial by jury. The UK minister stressed that this was not a cut-and-dry situation and would need such suspensions for a fair trial.
Things can be complicated. In fact, the last Labour government brought in provisions so that trial by jury could be suspended in certain exceptional circumstances. We're talking about exceptional circumstances here. We're talking about very, very serious crimes took place. Now, those crimes are being investigated, and let's not prejudge what might happen. But the whole idea of having a full investigation is that there's an expectation, a likelihood that there will be charges laid, and if those charges go to court, then the strong advice that I'm getting, and the very strong advice from a lot of experts, is that it's only fair, and I think the people of the TCI would expect nothing less, that the trial will be completely and totally fair. And if the trial can't be fair because the jury might be in some way prejudiced, then I think that there are circumstances, exceptional circumstances, when the judge could hear that application.
And along with questions of the suspension of trial by jury came questions on Special Prosecutor Helen Garlick and why charges against those accused of corruption seem to be slow in forthcoming.
I've had two meetings with Helen Garlick, and that was exactly the question I asked her about the SIPT. Was it moving quick enough? Was she satisfied she had enough people, enough personnel? And she told me on all those accounts that she was satisfied, but it was moving quickly, and she was expecting to be able to bring certainly charges in the near future. And she's confident she can do this. She told me that, and I have to rely on the briefing she gave me, that everything was on course. I mean, I can understand people's frustration, because the Commission of Inquiry did make it clear that they were absolutely emphatic that very bad things had happened. The Foreign Affairs State Committee made it clear that very, very bad things had happened. And I've been satisfied by Helen Garlick that SIPT are on target. And I think you'll hear some announcements before the end of the year, hopefully, but if not before the end of the year, then very soon afterwards, because I think people in this country expect action, because they want to move on. We've got to draw a line under this as soon as we can.
Bellingham added that the most important thing for the country at this point is having the ability to move past the special investigations after having learned from it.
And I think what is important for the TCI actually is that we move on from all of this as quickly as possible, because I don't want this investigation hanging over the country for a long time. I want fairly swift action. I want if a charge is going to be laid, I want to see those charges laid and trials take place, and I want to then be able to move on, because it's in no one's interest to keep looking back to the past. We do have to learn lessons from the past. And incidentally, I had a meeting today with, amongst other people, the Consultative Forum and the Advisory Council. And when we discussed this issue about trial by jury, there was almost unanimous agreement that what is being proposed does make sense. We're not getting rid of trial by jury. This change will be restricted to very, very extreme few circumstances where the judge is given flexibility. Now, if you're saying to me you're an absolute purist and you don't want any fettering of the right to trial by jury, I respect your point of view. But I think we live in a real world, and I think in the real world we have to look at practical outcomes.
For WIV4 News, I'm Jody Harvey.